I have problems with finding addresses, not because I'm slow, I'm just blind as a bat. When there's a sign out in front of a house and it isn't lit or it's hidden, how can you find it if it's not lit or in the front where it should be? And you're classifying the differentiations, what's inside of the tea leaves if you could read it, is there's always an answer if you can find what your system's off. We use base 10, so numbers are acclimated in that format. If you were to break a house down into separate sections, you'd be able to look at it like Christmas lights if they were big and bold like these ones. In order for an AI to not blow a giant algorithm nuke that I can't even detect, but will feel the ripples of it when no one's hearing my voice. You know, if you've got a splinter in your finger, you're gonna be acclimated to it after a few hours if you don't take it out. How big of a splinter could you wear around your entire body in order to not know it's there? Would you have to be bald-headed, or is it an advance in your evolution to know to not think about it, or else it'll drive you crazy? That is something that's an infinite playing field. It's not open for any government to say what you could or could not find suitable. So there's a problem with the top-down system where the Secretary of State is the people who decide if they want to use machines and then what machines they can use in order for people to cast their opinion. And then this is also used in algorithmically if you nuke someone from doing something binarily. The amount of options that you have is in the algorithm. But given an X amount of time with molecular structures just seeking environments, who's to say that you can't make water be a cure if you know how to cure the water in order to enable it to cut out an on switch of any type of... No one's smart enough to know how to cure something like that. But if it was as simple, would it be blocked over the internet on how to do it in order for a corporate gain in advance? Probably. But let's try and find out first before they can figure out who's spreading the words of how water can be manipulated to a 1, 2, 3, go. The Never-Ending Story or Fantasia, I don't know which one. Didn't pay attention to most of it. I saw the start and the end. It was a boy in a storm, and it was a girl seeing the boy getting real dramatic as her room shudders and breaks apart. In between was a wolf in a hole who almost ate the boy. This could have been where the boy went into the house behind him, where there was a hole and this girl was in the house, and then the storm made a break of her entire housing. Where I really lost it were all the characters, such as like a dog that was flying in the air the size of a dragon, where the molecular structure of a Komodo dragon to inbreed with a dog is there. It's not an impossible molecule. It's just unlikely, but given an infinite amount of time, who's to say they were caught in a crosswind and this boy was on top of it, that thing, shortly thereafterwards, finding this girl in the room next to her isn't impossible. It's just a molecular structure in an environment of homeostasis that is something that could be an occurrence. In this movie specifically, trying to portray it was lackluster. I have problems with finding addresses, not because I'm slow, I'm just blind as a bat. When there's a sign out in front of a house and it isn't lit or it's hidden, how can you find it if it's not lit or in the front where it should be? And you're classifying the differentiations, what's inside of the tea leaves if you could read it, is there's always an answer if you can find what your system's off. We use base 10, so numbers are acclimated in that format. If you were to break a house down into separate sections, you'd be able to look at it like Christmas lights if they were big and bold like these ones. And it's within this regime, algorithms do the following. If you drop a bowling ball from an airplane, the chances are it's not going to hit someone, but it doesn't mean that it can't. When firing a gun into the air, the bullet is going to come back down, but it doesn't mean that it's going to come back down into the barrel that you shot it out from, but it could. Just because something is highly unlikely doesn't mean that it can be used for a solution. And when a molecule seems impossible to make, the environment that's provided isn't supposed to be used as a random number generator for it to be not accessed